These are chaotic scenes in Parliament over vacant Kpandai seats reignite calls for enforcement of standing orders against unruly behavior.
Meanwhile, the Majority Caucus says it will trigger processes to refer members of the minority who attempted to disrupt proceedings to the Privileges Committee for violating standing orders.
A lot later, joint team from the Impohor District Assembly and the Anti-Galamsey Rapid Response Task Force confiscate water pumping machines and other equipment belonging to illegal miners at Edum Bansu.
It's News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemini Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, the minority in Parliament says it will continue to frustrate government business in the chamber until the Speaker directs the clerk to withdraw a notice to the Electoral Commission declaring the Kpandai seat vacant. Proceedings on the floor of Parliament on Tuesday was disrupted for hours with chaotic scenes of near fisticuffs among MPs. The NPP MPs have vowed to disallow any attempt to cause a rerun of that constituency.
It all started when the Minority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, asked the clerk to recall his notice to the Electoral Commission.
That letter declaring the Kpandai seat vacant must be recalled immediately. It must be recalled immediately. It cannot be.
The NPP MPs chanted until the House was suspended for hours. When they resumed, Speaker Bagbin invited the Majority Leader to brief him, but they would not allow him to speak, prompting another long suspension. The heckling continued after a meeting between leadership, but that would not stop the majority side from proceeding with business.
They are wearing face masks. They don't want Ghanaians to identify them. If you are ashamed of what you are doing, remove your face mask. I will let the Ghanaians know that you are only pretending to be Democrats. You are not Democrats.
The chaos degenerated into a worse spectacle. Minority MPs attempted a crossover.
For the year
2026, I so move. Thank you.
Speaker Bagbin defied his ruling on the matter.
I believe the office of the official reports would have captured what the Majority Leader commented upon. I will have to, in the circumstances that we are in today, have access to what has been captured by the official reports, and I will come to the House to give a ruling in this matter.
Minority MPs insist they will not cooperate if the decision is not reversed.
We filed those processes at the High Court to stay execution. We applied to Court of Appeal for a review of the decision. Subsequently, we filed the process at the Supreme Court on other writ of certiorari to quash the decision of the court. And so clearly, everything that has to be done to keep the process going has been filed. How come 2 weeks down the line, even the courts have not initiated the processes to hear the matter?
For as long as Mr. Speaker has been pressurized to renege on his earlier ruling, cooperation will be withdrawn until that assurance is given that that letter is not genuine.
The mace is the symbol of authority to Parliament. So when it is out of where it is, that means that there's no authority of Parliament. And anything that has happened is illegal. It has never happened from 1992.
For us on the minority side, we are going to ensure a sustained resistance to this oppressor's rule. We will not fight. We will not throw blows. We will not beat anybody. I can assure you, it is not ending today.
But the question then is, to what extent are they going to go with this? Even in the midst of the chaotic scenes, the majority side was still ongoing with the conduct of government business by approving the estimate. And so it leaves that question as to whether their protest, if they should continue this way, would have any biting impact on the conduct of business in the House.
Yet another distasteful scene in Parliament, one that is condemned, but the questions remain when the Speaker would be seen cracking the whip to deter his members. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Parliament.
We can also tell you that the Majority Chief Whip says the NDC have filed contempt charges against the Electoral Commission for its refusal to announce the date for the election. Roxanne Nelson Dafemekpo says the failure of the Commission to announce the date for the election constitutes an act of connivance with the NPP.
Regarding the Electoral Commission, there's a remedy. We have already cited them in contempt of court. We filed a contempt of court proceeding, action against them. I'm sure they are served by now, because you see, they are a party in the matter. So when you are a party in the matter and a decision is that, and the court was very clear, directed at the Electoral Commission.
30 days.
So you need no service of the court order. All you have to do is to carry out the order of the court. They were deliberate and they refused. We said no problem. We took steps to serve them with the order of the court. Again, they refused. Now, Parliament has taken further steps to inform you. Again, they have refused. So if the Electoral Commission is not supporting NPP in this matter, then I don't know what else it is. Because it's the NPP that's not interested in having a rerun. And the rerun can only be organized by the Electoral Commission. So if by the circumstantial steps or the circumstantial evidence against the Electoral Commission points to the inevitable conclusion that they are refusing to issue the rerun notice, then they are condoning. They are in connivance with the NPP to ensure that the rerun is not effected within the 30-day timeline the court issued. And we cannot disregard the court like that. We cannot.
Right.
It's the last thing we have to encourage or tolerate as a democracy.
Now, think tank Africa Policy Lens is calling on civil society organizations, anti-corruption societies and Ghanaians to reject the government's latest intention to reduce the 10% royalty rate on the lithium deal to 5%. According to the group, a reduction will be a deception to Ghanaians, especially after government's promise in 2024 to increase the percentage when given the nod. Fellow with the Africa Policy Lens, Wisdom Gomashi spoke to TV3.
The government is currently trying to cite that the lithium prices is falling as a decoy to indicate that the royalty ratio reduced from 10% to 5%. You see, the fact is clear. The product that was used for the lease, document, okay, is called a lithium concentrate, the spodumene concentrate. And today, as we speak, the price per ton of that product today is around $1,165 per ton. According to documents which the company tendered in for the application of the mining lease, we call something all-in sustaining cost. That cost is around $675 per ton. If you use the company's all-in sustaining cost of $675 per ton, and today, December 9th price of lithium concentrate, which stands at $1,165 per ton today, based on all the financials. The company today can make about $170 million if they produce 350,000 tons of lithium concentrate, as contained in their agreement that was tendered in for the lease, before the country will even take, let's say, they are 10%, which is about 40 million. So based on this parameter, the company can make 170 million today. The state to make their 40 million. These are raw figures. Now, should Ghana reduce royalty rate from 10% to 5% now, unprovoked? What it means is that we are going to give $20 million free to the company. In rough estimates, should lithium price move between $1,000 per lithium concentrate price move between $1,000 to $3,000, even, this is a pessimistic view, in the next 12 years, at the point whereby the government reduces the rate from 10% to 5%, the government of Ghana is going to lose between $210 million to $600 million.
I will take you back to Parliament pretty shortly on those matters in relation to the disruption of business yesterday. But right now, let's go to the courts, because the Supreme Court has unanimously dismissed an application by former Men's Code CEO Nana Appiah-Mensah, also known as Namuan, seeking to hold the case at the High Court or the Court of Appeal determines a matter in relation to it, following an order of the High Court for Namuan to open his defense after a prima facie case was made against him. He filed the application at the Court of Appeal against the High Court's decision. On TV3, because if you know this particular case, it's been one that's been pending for quite a while. Initially, there were, amongst many other things, charges in relation to him which were withdrawn and subsequently filed by the former administration. But let's stay in the courts for you, because the Supreme Court has said January 14, 2026 to rule on a review application by the Deputy Attorney General regarding portions of its earlier decision in the case of the former Signals Bureau Director Kwame Dubois and his wife Angela Eji-Boate. In the Apex Court earlier dismissed an application by Mr. Dubois seeking to prohibit the trial judge from further hearing the case. Let's bring you some other matters right now, because Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman this morning chaired an interministerial meeting in Accra as part of efforts to drive the government's digitalization or decentralization agenda. The meeting aimed to review progress and address challenges in implementing the National Decentralization Policy and Strategy 2026 to 2030.
The meeting enables us to reaffirm our commitment to placing decentralization at the heart of development and accountable governance in line with our Constitution. I am pleased to know that today's meeting includes an orientation session. This is designed to give all of us, especially our ministers, a clear understanding of the National Decentralization Policy Framework and Strategy, the workings of the IMCC, and the key decentralization reform agenda, and as well the strategic approaches we will employ to implement them effectively.
During the meeting, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman emphasized the need for strict accountability in the use of the District Assembly's Common Fund, ensuring resources translate into tangible improvements in citizens' lives. She highlighted the government's commitment to deepening local governance.
We must therefore treat the completion of administrative and functional devolution in health and education, and of course the road sectors too, as a national priority. The credibility of the decentralization program depends on delivering results in these key sectors, and I am confident that the ministers concerned will work particularly closely with the IMCC Secretariat to accelerate these reforms. The formulation of the National Decentralization Policy and Strategy 2026 to 2030 has been completed and will be presented to this committee today. The new policy and strategy document provides a coherent roadmap across 6 thematic areas: political decentralization, administrative decentralization, decentralized planning, fiscal decentralization, local economic development, popular participation, and accountability. Successful implementation requires collective ownership, strong political backing, technical commitment, full sectoral alignment, and effective coordination. Every ministry represented here has a critical role to play. The NDBC, the civil service, the local government service must harmonize standards, planning systems, staffing structures, and accountability mechanisms.
Back to Parliament over that particular matter involving the disruption in business yesterday, and the majority says it will begin processes to refer members of the minority who attempted to cross carpet yesterday to be referred to the Privileges Committee for violating standing orders of the House. The Legislative Chamber was a place of chaos yesterday when the minority opposed the continuation of the business of the House, drumming and chanting as the majority counterparts proceeded to consider government business. The development at some point nearly degenerated into fisticuffs when some minority MPs attempted to take the disruption of business a step further by crossing over to the majority side who were considering bills and some motions. Reacting to the development, Majority Chief Whip Roxy Nelson Dapiamek would describe the conduct of his NPP colleagues as shameful. Speaking on the 3FM Sunrise, he stressed action will be taken against the MPs.
The report has been laid. It's a matter of prioritizing it to be taken. And so having hinted, in fact, you've averted my mind to it. So I believe that today at conclave, it may come up that report need to be taken. Because if we don't do that, then perhaps the public won't take Parliament quite serious, especially given what happened yesterday. You have come to say that the clerk had no power. The clerk cited the constitutional provision in pursuance of which he issued a letter. Yet you won't have none of it. Because of that, Parliament must close. I mean, Parliament must close because you disagree with a decision. And when we insist that no, some business must be done, they won't have it. So they actually cross over from their side, cross the aisle, which is an abhorrence in Parliament, and they were threatening to attack us, the majority front bench.
And the curious question is, are there no causes of action within your standing orders to deal with what it is we saw yesterday?
That's why we are saying that these matters will be seriously raised this morning. We'll start sitting from midday.
Yes, 12.
And so today, I'm sure if you follow us, the matters you are raising here will receive some attention on the floor.
And Ghanaians can look forward to a bit more decorum in terms of what happens on the floor of the House, because it's been quite...
You see, we can't compel MPP to be decorous. We cannot compel them. It's conduct. If they decide to be disruptive, that is... And it's become a group habit. Look, when we're in opposition, we disagreed. The only time that we participated in a stampede was when we were electing speaker and they wanted to have their way and we refused.
That's Majority Chief Whip Roxy Nelson Dapiamek. Well, let's take you to Parliament right now. Our start expectation is that some members of the minority may be referred, as he disclosed to us a lot earlier. Christian Yalis, my colleague in Parliament for us. Let's connect with him on the expectation ahead of sitting today. Christian, thank you very much for joining us. Let's start off with the House. I suspect members have begun to make their way onto the floor. What's been the reaction on the back of what happened yesterday, the conversation in and around the chamber?
Eric, of now, I see the Minority Chief Whip, Frank Anodomfre, in the chamber. He started all of this yesterday by making that urgent statement concerning this matter of the Kpandai Parliamentary election rerun. He is here, and as well, a number of members of Parliament have already started trooping in. And when you engage the minority side, they maintain their position from yesterday that they would continue to insist on getting the notice to the Electoral Commission withdrawn before they can give maximum cooperation to allow government business to proceed on the House. And so it is one that you would want to call a high-stakes meeting that is just about to come up in the chamber. And that, as it were, it also presupposes or means that you would want to look forward to the possible direction of the Speaker as well. Yesterday, he had indicated that because of the noise in the chamber, minority side, he would have to give reports of of members verbatim to be put.
Christian, the connection to you, the phone connection to you is just tripping slightly. If you could just reposition for us so that you run up on that submission for me, please.
Eric, is it better now?
Much better.
Yes, so I was just saying that you would expect a possible direction from the Speaker, who by now should have been able to review the official report, which captures what exactly happened yesterday, for him to make a directive whether he is going to affirm the notice to the Electoral Commission or he would say otherwise. But Eric, interesting to note that, you know, over the period, for some days now, Parliament has been using the robotic cameras. Now, today, it's saying that they are bringing back the regular or the usual cameras with people going to manually handle the cameras. And I have heard instructions being given out that each of the cameramen be given a talk back so that they are able to hear instructions. It presupposes that there has been some level of engagement backdoor or some directives that have been given to continue to more or less like control how things happen today on the floor. So we look forward with high anticipation what is likely to unfold today.
And so from the minority, the indication is that they will continue in this manner to seek to disrupt government business until the letter from the clerk is withdrawn. Is that the indication we're getting?
That is the indication. And as they indicated yesterday, they are going to go on this tangent for at least the next 1 week. And Eric, you know that somewhere around December 19th, the House should be able to pass the appropriation for them to rise for recess. What it means is that this is also a crucial activity that should be done for government to undertake its fiscal activity in the next year. And so it is very important that a lot of the estimates that are still hanging are considered for the House to be able to pass the appropriation. And so if things unfold the same way as they did yesterday, then the majority side would have to still go ahead to approve the estimate just as they did yesterday in the midst of all the chaotic things that we witnessed.
Right then, I know as well that the Transport Minister, Joseph Boakai-Nikpe, has announced that a minimum of 8 buses will be deployed along 4 major road corridors starting from today to help deal with traffic congestion. Just talk to us briefly, then we can hear exactly what he's been saying.
Exactly. So, Eric, this is coming on the back of complaints that the ministry has received that there are some drivers who, during peak hours, charge unapproved fares, also because you would have a lot of commuters stranded along major bus terminals and other stations. And so the ministry has set up a task force with numbers that have been made available to ensure that those drivers who charge unapproved fares are dealt with and then sanctioned. And so that is the announcement that the minister has made today, that beginning today and from 4:30 p.m., they are going to, deploy or employ some of these 8 buses each on the 4 corridors. We can take a listen to what Joseph Boakai-Nikpe has been saying.
That the ministry has made for the conveyance of our passengers or our commuters to their various stations. And they will operate mainly from the bus stations or terminals.
They operate mainly from the bus stations or terminals. They will not be on the road. However, if they are from a station and at a point it is not full and passengers are along the street, they will still pick those passengers. But they operate from all the major stations or terminals.
And you think the regular fares as dictated by the union?
Yes, the fares that the unions collect are the approved fares. That is what they are willing to take to.
Honorable, thank you so much. Join us.
And that is the Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikbe in that interaction with some members of the press. Let's bring you by the numbers right now.
They enter nursing school with dreams of saving lives, but for many of Ghana's graduates, the journey ends not in a hospital ward, but on a waiting list. Since 2015, the number of students entering nursing and midwifery training has climbed steadily, creating a wave of qualified professionals the system is struggling to absorb. As the backlog grows and frustration deepens, the situation has now reached a breaking point. Today, more than 43,000 trained nurses remain at home unemployed. On Tuesday, a group of these unemployed graduates, nurses, marched through the streets, pouring out their frustration in a fresh demonstration calling for immediate employment. Let's take a listen.
The struggle of an unemployed nurse is real. It's not a crime to be a nurse in Ghana, so we shouldn't always undermine the nurses and midwives in Ghana.
What crime? Is it a sin to be a nurse? Is it a sin? Come on, look at me, a grown up. I'm having grey hair. I want my 40s. I'm not even working. I don't even have a family. Come on, please, please. I don't know.
How I am unemployed. My colleague too is unemployed. He is also dependent on someone. So how will it be if we are going to depend on one person?
As I'm talking to you right now, it's like they've put pepper in my heart.
But this is only the latest in a long series of protests by health professionals who say they have waited years for financial clearance and placement. Their message is the same. They are trained, ready, and needed, but not working. Let's look at what the numbers tell us. Mawuena Egbeta is here with the very latest. Mawuena, what are we learning from this whole debacle with the nurses, employment, and our inability to absorb them in the system?
Well, it's a double header, if we want to call it that, because there's a problem of what has existed in the past, what is the case now, and the fact that we're in an IMF program as well, which limits as well government expenditure. And we'll take all of this, you take all of this to Austin Gama, who's a labor expert as well. But let me just try and paint that picture properly. Then we can use that as basis to get into our conversation. And so currently we have over 48,000 unemployed nurses in the country, right? 48,000 unemployed nurses. And let's try and do a breakdown or a walk through memory lane in terms of why this number. Because previously we used to have nurses being bonded. That's the case where the government puts you in a bond, your paid allowances and some others that when you complete, you're bonded, you cannot do any other thing but to work for the government. That ended somewhere around 2017. But it didn't stop persons from continuing to go into nursing training institutions and for us to continue to mass produce nurses on a large scale. But in 2020, we saw a bit of absorption because COVID came by and it needed a lot more health personnel and we were stretched. And so if you look through 2020, 2021, a lot of the budget and expenditure went towards delivering and ensuring that the country did not suffer the harm that COVID was threatening us with. Then, to 2021, 2023, that surge in terms of a demand of health workers plummeted because then there was no fear of the virus killing as many individuals as possible. And so that slowed as well the pace with which employment would take place. Then, of course, came the economic crunch, and so it meant as well financial clearance then will become a difficulty for the government. Then we entered into the IMF program in 2023, which introduced that aspect of a conditionality which didn't give the government the free room because we had to cut down on expenditure massively. We had debts to renegotiate, amongst many other things, and brings us to this point where 13,500 have been hired. Some have not received their pay. There's that crisis which is beginning to creep in terms of payroll. And so what are the main issues we're talking about? Mass production, overproduction versus demand. It's not the case and that first point is very important that we lay bare a few more details. It's not that we do not need the nurses, but we do not have the financial muscle to absorb them. And so that becomes a bit of a problem. That's why there's overproduction versus demand. The demand is needed, but the demand, there's a monetary problem which doesn't allow us do that. Then there's the no intake caps, the no bonding safeguards, which means government hand is not tied now to automatically employ you at all costs. Temporary solutions have come through, and then financial constraints. We've seen some of the solutions come through, which is our decision to export some of our health professionals outside of the country. But we know that even without that, over 7,000 nurses are almost always looking for a way to exit the country. And in terms of how much we're spending as a country to train these nurses, we're looking at 2 billion cedis annually. Remember, there is the trainee allowance that is paid to them as well, and which is factored in all of this. Then there is the no-fee stress policy, which has been introduced by government. And that conversation has come up that for persons who receive allowances, should they also fall within the category of no-fee stress is yet another conversation. And that is also serving as an incentive for more people to go into the nursing training institutions, and then they'll graduate, and then there's no financial muscle for us to employ them. And so that's what pretty much is the conundrum placed before us as a country and as a people.
Very well. Mawuena, let's take this conversation now to labor expert Austin Game. Thank you so much for joining us here, Mr. Game. I think that, after hearing all the numbers and the facts that back the problem that we have now, the most natural question is, how can we solve this problem? What do you think?
Thank you, my sister. I think that we have, as a country, overburdened ourselves with partisan political considerations when it comes to issues of employment and non-employment in this country. And that it has become a devil hanging on our necks, and we don't know what to do with it. The reality is this: there's no country where you can have 100% employment for everybody by government. That is why there is always the private sector, the informal sector, and the government-controlled employment. There is so much government can do, and there is so much they are unable to do. We have a country with financial constraints, we all know. I don't have to go into the numbers, but the reality is that we should commit ourselves to what we are able to do as a people. Efforts have been made to export some, as you rightly said. Some may not be able, they can't have everywhere for our people to go officially. Some are on their own going all the time. Some retire. Some, unfortunately, may not be on this earth again, and they need to be replaced. We will expand our medical facilities by way of building new hospitals, and therefore people need to be employed. When the vacancies are open, particularly for the sake of health sector and nurses in particular and other paramedics,
government will not hesitate to fill in those gaps. It's normal. But I do not think that we should make it a conditionality that when you complete school, automatically we should be demonstrating all over the place and asking government to put us whether even if they don't have the facility, you should just be on the payroll and be hanging around. I don't think it's possible.
I see. So what you're saying is that we should get rid of the bond system.
There's no bond system as of today.
Right.
There's no bond system.
But
government makes effort to train people. At least you have been trained. So you are available. Should there be an opening, why not? You have to be considered. If from 2021, we are unable to fill in the gaps as the case may be, we certainly have an overburdened number of people that are here now because hospitals are not built, new ones are not built, they are not available for the people to be absorbed into it. Private people are building, they are absorbing some of them. So I think we should all be patient with the system because we cannot, as a people, be overburdened to pay extra. If we are asked to pay extra 1 cedi taxes now, the same leadership of various NGOs and bodies will come up against government. Why are you putting on this to pay them? It's not possible. So people should have patience and let the government of the day, if tomorrow we have another government, fine, the same procedure will be followed. But we should not kill ourselves by saying necessarily that because nurses have been trained and they have come out from school, they should be automatically absorbed. I think that is overburdening ourselves.
I see. The problem also starts at the point of training. Government is spending a lot of money in training these nurses. Should we start to change that bit of the process of getting nurses into the system, which will automatically also deal with the health workers waiting on government employment?
No, I don't think so. We should still have them trained. It's better to train them than not to train them. So I agree they should be trained. We have already agreed on that policy. But the truth is this. Do we have free SHS? Yes is the answer. When they complete school and they are unable to proceed to the university, should the government, because it was free SHS, absorb all of them into employment automatically? This is how we must think. And we must think outside the box now and not pretend as if we don't know. Otherwise, all free SHS, all those from various other tertiary ladder that have completed school, we should absorb them. It's not possible. So we should be patient. We should expand. That's why there is the call for a proper 24-hour economy, so we can expand the opportunity base for people to be absorbed into the system. But still, regardless of that, we may not be able to absorb everybody. People will have to find ways and means of going into other areas. That's why there is a need for people to be trained, be guided, so we can expand the system other than box ourselves into just one system. And some of us have other ideas too, but I don't think this is the platform for
the platform for that. But, I was also asking, maybe we're overtraining.
I don't think so. I mean, there is a need. Look, there's a lot of opportunities that we could latch onto. Because we don't have a proper information system, labor market information system, as some of us envisaged under the Labor Act, existing Labor Act, we don't have proper information. If we can have proper information on labor market availability for people, both in the rural settings. That's why everybody is congregating in Accra, Tema, and Kumasi. But we must open up so that in the rural areas where there are job openings, whether it belongs to private or public, it will be known in a system built into the Labor Act. Unfortunately, we are not using it. I think the Minister of Employment, Labor and Jobs is trying to put the system together. If they can do it as quickly as possible, we shall have proper information and data, and people can migrate and move from place to place and work. And the 24-hour economy will respond to it properly.
Well, Mr. Game, thank you so much for talking to us. Austin Game is a labor expert, and that'll be all for By the Numbers. Oh, we'll take you across the regions when we return. Don't go away. A joint team from the Mpohot District Assembly and the Anti-Galamsey Rapid Response Task Force stormed the Edumbanso forest, shutting down illegal mining activities on the Butre River. The operation prompted by reports of defiant miners operating at the river's headwaters and diverting its natural course. The operation resulted in the confiscation of 8 water pump machines and the destruction of several pieces of mining equipment used in the illicit activity. Here's a report by Stephen Kujo.
Edumbanso, a farming community in the Mpohot district and the hair source of the Butre River, has suddenly become a hotspot for illegal mining. This got discovered during a raving operation led by the district chief executive, Madam Sofia Obin, who moved in on the river's headwaters following reports of persistent galamsey activities. Upon arrival, the team found a well-established group of illegal miners actively scavenging the river source. The miners had diverted the river's natural course, leaving the surrounding land severely degraded. Extensive forest destruction and uncontrolled excavation had virtually wiped out the river's natural origin.
I'm so worried about this Butre River because I was born and bred in this village, and I know how Butre is. And right now, looking at the surrounding, we are here to see that if even it is flowing, if it's flowing like that, fine. But right now, we came to meet that all the galamseyers and everything, they are all around. You look at the machines that we pick. Everything has sent upside down. Look at the Butre River. We can use it for anything. And this Butre River is not in Edumbanso alone. It's here up to, we say, up to the sea. See, this one is not a responsibility of one person. We are all responsible to combat this galamsey. So I'm begging all of them that if you see someone, any excavator or machine in the river body, you just report it.
The illegal miners fled upon arrival of the task force, leaving behind their mining equipment, including 8 water pumping machines that were seized and other mining tools destroyed. The Butre River, a crucial water source for several communities in the western region, has become heavily polluted and unsafe. Concerned by the devastation, the Mpohot DC has announced a renewed crackdown on galamsey, warning that the assembly will shut down any environmental harmful operations and sustain the fight until the district is free from illegal mining.
I'm begging them, those people that give lands to the galamseyers, the farmers, some of them, they are, you should know that we have various chiefs, sub-chiefs, and so they give the lands to the galamseyers. So I'm urging all of them to stop, because it's not going to help us. It's not going to help the community. And those who have the farmland, we are pleading with them that they shouldn't give it to the galamseyers. And those who have the farm, plantation farm, you have rubber, you have that's farm, those people that have various farms. If you see anybody, a galamseyer or whatever, destroying your land, you should let us know. Come to the assembly or report to the nearest police station. Then we will come to your aid.
Now, motorists using the Prestia-Bogoso Road are calling for a permanent asphalt overlay, insisting that temporary reshaping by the municipal chief executive is insufficient. In the meantime, the MC for the area, Matthew Ayer, has appealed to the president to expedite the road's construction, confirming the project is included in the 2026 national budget.
The deplorable state of the approximately 24-kilometer Prestia-Bogoso Road has severely extended travel times. A journey that once took 40 minutes now takes nearly 2 hours. For the people of Prestia, this has long been a major problem, and the road, riddled with years of unaddressed potholes, stands as a testament to governmental neglect. Acknowledging this, Municipal Chief Executive Matthew Ayer states that the permanent construction is in the national budget, but he has appealed to the president to expedite it. In the interim, the Assembly, with District Road Infrastructure Program DRIP support, has begun reshaping and doing spot improvement to make the road temporarily motorable.
We've been promised by the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to construct this road. Unfortunately, it has been captured in the budget. So all that we are asking for is that we are pleading to His Excellency to help to push fast track the construction of the road for us. But notwithstanding, the District Assembly in collaboration with the DRIP program, we have also putting up these ad hoc measures, at least to improve some of the spots for the road to be motorable for the people.
However, residents and motorists are demanding a permanent solution, a full reconstruction with an asphalt overlay, not a temporary fix.
Okay, umugu kota krama dia ebabua. Footron dia easy. If you are in Amkwen, so I'm so to say na tachere bogo.
Yeah, the here so me kwan na amaye. We say aban bia ba odada so be kwan amaye, obe kwan amaye. We ba no ko. Nti here the Christian kwan oye MPP oye NDC o ba na obe kwan amaye. Me fi say obetina so ache. Ba mba no ma be dada, Esu kwan da o ache.
The MCE for Pista Hunivali Matthew Aye, acknowledging the frustration and demands of the motorists, assures of a firm commitment to development, which includes improving Bogoso's inner town roads.
That is what they will say, because they all need asphalt road. Everybody in Pristia, they know that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government is the only government that can give them a good road. Because we started with it. When NDC was in power, we started with the Pristia Township roads. We did the gutters and other things. When we went to opposition, everything stopped. It ceases. So the aspirations of the people is very high. They are anticipating that as soon as the new government is in place, in the next 1 year, they have to get a road. So it is good that they say so. But I'm confident in the government, in my own government, that we will do it.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Bogoso.
A wave of optimism and relief is sweeping through the teaching staff and learners of Fiase Primary C as a long-awaited school building project nears completion. For years now, the school appeared and operated under conditions that severely hampered education, particularly during the rainy season.
Years of struggling with disruptive rain, combined classes, and health issues caused by dust, teachers of Fiase Primary C can now breathe a sigh of relief as their school facility nears completion. The teachers who have endured significant struggles are now hailing the new structure as a dream come true.
We were struggling very much because it got to some time when it's about to rain. We would not know where the children will go and stay. At times we combine 2 or 3 classes at a place. But I would say it's a dream come true for us to get this structure, because we've been expecting a structure like this because the situation is affecting the studies of the learners. So we see this as a dream come true for the teachers and the learners as well.
It has been a challenge. It affects us a lot because when it's starting to rain, we forced to close the school down. When you close the school down to what they're supposed to learn, they will not cover it. Now we also have classrooms to sit in. After now it's just about Hamatan is about setting in. So the dust we hail is not easy. It's not helping us our health. So getting classroom, I think it will help us.
The municipal chief executive expressed high satisfaction with the quality of work delivered by the contractor.
The time we came here, it was at the foundation level. Even by that time, the floor has not been cast, and barely a month now. We are now here, and we are seeing the work so far done. So far, what I have seen, I am highly satisfied.
The contractor estimated the project to be approximately 60 to 70% complete, confirming end of December for the completion of the project.
Say 60 to 70%.
The project is about 60 to 70% complete. We are just left with a few touches and we'll be done.
Flames, everything is intact. River blade, everything. Oh, we are the Academy. The end of this
By the end of this December, we can assure the completion of the project.
Now, the Yamfo community, guided by its traditional leadership, has expressed profound concerns regarding the proposed transfer of Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim, the director of the Yamfo College of Health. They're urging the government, specifically the Ministry of Health, to reconsider the decision and engage in thorough consultation with the community prior to any actions taken. Here's a report by Claude Kumiebisa.
At the Yamfo Palace, the Binkumhene Nana Edusi Puku recounted that Dr. Ibrahim's leadership has significantly advanced the college. His potential transfer is feared to adversely affect both operations and reputation of the institution.
We urge the government, Ministry of Health, to reconsider their decision and ensure enough consultation with the community before taking any action. The running of the college has been a partnership between the government and the Yamfo community. The community, with our little resources, have been able to provide around 80% of the buildings being used at the college. The appointment of Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim as the director has brought great progress in the running of the college. He has made significant contributions to the college by working for accreditation and ensuring teaching and learning proceed in accordance with requirements of National Accreditation Authority. We believe his transfer could impact negatively on the running and reputation of the college. We call on all stakeholders to join us in supporting the call for the director to be maintained at least for some time to enable him continue with the laudable work he is doing to ensure rapid progress of the college.
On his part, Paramount Chief of Yamfo, Nana Ansa Eduba II, has publicly voiced his support for retaining Dr. Ibrahim to allow him to continue his impactful work.
It is a never banwa by school in school. No, Yanya will be our reswa. There was one tanachi. Saturday, any tanachi. No, say I 2 years near my casa monko kaya by no my bienia. Ale, dear near by. I buy this normal go for room. Yana, 1 year be beer.
Additionally, Nana Jemfi Kumenini, the youth chairman of Yamfo, has called for health authorities to maintain peace and stability, especially following disturbances caused by suspected thugs during a recent visit by a health ministry delegation.
We are shocked about those thugs, so we called the police to intervene. And when the police came, they struck them away. So we are calling on the authorities, especially the assembly, that once there's peace in the community, they should not bring anything to disturb that peace. The youth of the community is very anxious. We are ready for everything.
Claude Kumiebisa, TV3 News, Yamfo, Ahafo Region.
That's our bulletin for you. Midweek action, even as the mistletoe now is fully represented in the studio, which means Christmas is drawing ever
just
closer.
Around the corner.
Yeah, I am Mawuena Egbeta.
And I am Kemini Amanor. Next is the afternoon show. We will see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.